Prime Minister of Beijing Wen Jiabo urges to reform China's government. Wen Jiabo was elected Prime Minister of Beijing in February. Since then, he has dealt with the Boazili issue about a political man in Chongqing who murdered several Chinese men. Currently, he's speaking with Barack Obama and the U.S. government about making America's request to have China's currency, the yuan, be of higher value in the U.S. Even though Jiabo is in the Communist Party, he wants to be on good terms with the U.S. government. He is well known for his love of technology. He said he would like China to be more technology-oriented. Ever since the elections in February, he has been dedicated to reforming China's government. He wants to create a safe environment and to fix problems with other countries.
In April of 2012, the new leader of North Korea, Kim Jong-un, the son of Kim Jong-il, test-launched a long-range missile. Kim Jong-un claimed it was only just a weather satellite, but countries to the south that it was flying over were ready to shoot it down. The missile was destroyed just minutes after launch, resulting in a mission failure for North Korea. Not much earlier, in February of 2012, North Korea and the United States made a deal that if North Korea promised to stop all missile tests and nuclear activity, the United States would supply North Korea with food and aid. This deal was called off after the launch by the United States.
"40 years ago in Canberra, Australia, 4 Aboriginal men staked the umbrella in the lawn of the Parliament House. That umbrella evolved into a tent, which soon became known as the Aboriginal Tent Embassy. The Aboriginal people living in the tent were demanding their rights in Australia, now that white settlers are taking over. Few demands were awarded to the Aborigines. January 26 is Australia Day, celebrating the arrival of white settlers in 1988. This year on Australia Day, the oppositional leader, Tony Abbott, made a comment on an ABC radio interview. The Indigenous people of Australia can be very proud on the respect in which they are held by every Australian. I think a lot has changed since the embassy was created, and I think it's probably time to move on from that. At this, the Aborigines were outraged. They felt as if their right to exist was threatened. Abbott, along with Prime Minister Julia Gillard, went out to eat at a restaurant near the old Parliament House that afternoon. While they were eating, about 200 protesters gathered around the restaurant to show their fury. 50 policemen were called to simmer down the crowd at 2:30 p.m. Abbott and Gillard escaped through the side door unharmed, aside from the rioter grabbing the Prime Minister's shoe off her foot. They were safely brought to their car after 20 minutes. Protesters followed the car, banging on the windows. No one was hurt or arrested.
Recently, the newly elected president of Taiwan, Ma Ying-jeou, was fined for a post on his Facebook page. Taiwan's Central Election Commission fined him $16,666 US, or 500,000 new Taiwan dollars, for campaigning on Election Day, which is against the law in Taiwan. Ma's campaign slogan was Taiwan Bravo, which is a reference to Facebook's like sign. Ma's opponent, Tsai Ing-wen, was also fined 300,000 new Taiwan dollars for not signing somewhere for campaign material. Ma Ying-jeou won re-election with about 51% of the vote, whereas Tsai won about 45% of the vote.
Looking tired but visibly relieved, Taiwan's re-elected president called his victory proof that his pro-China policies were what the people wanted.
In late March of 2012, Tokyo Disneyland in Japan created the Royal Dream Wedding, a wedding in which couples married in front of Cinderella's castle for 7.5 million yen, or $93,000 US. Koyuki Higashi, a gay rights activist, contacted Disneyland to see if she could wed her girlfriend there. The theme park had allowed same-sex marriages on the property since 2007, so they fully agreed. But a problem arose. Because the couple will be passing through public areas, the park made a rule that only one of them could wear the dress, while the other had to wear a tuxedo. An official at Disneyland said, Disney had to consider how other couples will be impacted. Koyuki expressed her anger about the rule on her blog and on her Twitter, which attracted major media attention. Within a week, Tokyo Disneyland contacted Ms. Higashi, notifying her that the dress requirements had been changed. The couple was now allowed to dress as they liked. After this occurrence, it attracted President Barack Obama, who contacted the Japanese government warning them of that problem. It was made known that awareness of LGBT people is very low because same-sex marriages are not considered legal in Japan.
In 2006, Chinese human rights activist Chen Guangchen escaped his 18-month house arrest in April. After being accused of damaging property and organizing a mob to disturb traffic, this international incident caused Chen to be sentenced to prison for 4 years and 3 months. His supporters say that the charges are really punishing him for his support of victims of abusive families. The abusive family planning policies forced abortions and sterilization throughout Asia. Because of this incident, not only Chen is getting trouble for it, but also his relatives. His relatives suffer from government reaction, such as numerous beatings from the government thugs. All of Chen's family's sources of communications were taken away. The government claims that they cannot free Chen, his 2 children, and wife because it wouldn't be safe. Chen has talked to the U.S. Embassy about this problem, and he has been invited as a visiting scholar to study abroad at New York University in the United States to work with his law programs. Representatives of China's central government have tried helping him get a passport and receive charges of him being beat up by members of the Chinese government. When in China, be sure to watch what you say. Travelers must be aware that China is still a very authoritarian government that does not allow freedom of speech, unlike the United States.